Hello drummers, welcome to DrumChannel. This is Fundamental Playing Techniques. This lesson involves the alternate stroke motion, right hand, left hand, or left hand, right hand, and we will apply eighth notes and 16th notes with the motion. So, we're talking about note values now, and these note values are things that you should be aware of by now. And it also involves timekeeping. Timekeeping involves playing to a tempo. And so to make sure that we have good tempo, we can use a device called a metronome. Now, a metronome is a device that clicks out beats. Those beats are clicked out per minute. So if we have a tempo of quarter note equals 80, for example, which is today's lesson, that will give you a tempo that you play eighth notes and 16th notes at. And I would also suggest that you tap your foot on the beat along with the metronome. So again, the metronome is really good to practice to at least 50% of the time. Not all the time, because I think it's important for drummers to work on developing the inner clock, which means that your body has the tempo that you want to play and maintains that tempo. All right, so again, this is about 80 beats per minute. I'm going to tap my foot at 80, and starting with the right hand, I'm going to play a 4 count using eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now the stroke that I'm using to play this right now appears to be medium level tap strokes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or bounce strokes. Now you can apply the eighth notes at a low level, at a mid level, and at a high level. You can also apply the strokes in a way where you create either a staccato sound, which is a downstroke motion, or a legato sound, which is a bounce motion. So there are at least two ways to practice these exercises. All right? I'm going to use a legato motion, so I'm going to be using a bounce stroke as I play. Once again, the beat is kept with my foot. And I'm going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and high bounce. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, the 16th note is double time the eighth note. Or to look at it another way, the eighth note subdivides the quarter note into 2 pieces. The 16th note subdivides the quarter note into 4 pieces. And to apply a count for the 16th note, we insert an E and a duh with the 1 and the and. So it's 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So once again, the quarter note tempo is being tapped out with my foot, along with perhaps the metronome that you're using. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. High bounce, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. Mid bounce, 2, 3, 4. Low bounce, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mid bounce, 1, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4. High, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so tempo is really, really important here. Now, I think it's also important to lead with the opposite hand. Now, if you're right-handed, you may feel that your left hand is less developed, perhaps less coordinated at this point, but it's really important to develop the left hand lead because you will be using that all the time when you play. So I'm going to go back to the eighth notes now, and I'm going to use the quarter note at about 80 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I should insert an important fact at this point. As you watch me play, if I just do this with one hand, you'll notice that I'm bouncing up and then I'm stopping the stick and then I'm lifting the stick. And that's due to the tempo. Rather than do this, okay, which seems rather awkward at this tempo, you're not going to play that way. Tempo has a lot to do with motion. So as I increase the tempo, the stick will bounce up naturally to the position that I need to be at. So again, I'm trying to let the stick bounce, but I'm not letting it bounce immediately up. I could do that as an exercise, but in practical application, you won't see that happen. All right? So here we go again with eighth note count, left hand lead, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and at about a mid-level, 2 and now a high level, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and mid-level, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a low level, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2, 3, 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a high level, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and low level, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E, mid level, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Now I think it's good practice to change the level as you practice. You could do it gradually. You could do something like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E. You could do something like that. Or you can focus strictly on the eighth notes and then strictly on the 16th notes. Here's another way to do that. I'm going to lead with the right hand this time. I'm going to put what I would call 2 counts of 4 using eighth notes, and then 2 counts of 4 using the 16th note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Then go back and forth again, back to the eighth note, back to the 16th. What this does is it really focuses on timekeeping. Can you manage the eighth note tempo and the 16th note tempo where the count of the beat stays exactly the same? All right? This will help you to manage tempo. Now, the quarter note that equals 80 is a good place to start. You may have to start a little slower, or you could start a little faster. Remember, we're not really working today on the alternate stroke roll, which will be quite a bit faster than what we're playing right now. So remember that you want to lead both right hand and left hand. You want to count while you play. You want to tap your foot while you play. And you may or may not be using a metronome. These are all important parts of this lesson. So until next time, you take care.